In this video, we explore Browns Folly Mine. This is the first mine I've ever done, and mines are very interesting. They are massive. They go on for miles, and it's very easy to get lost. Mines are actually a lot more dangerous than you'd first think. There's several things about them that make them dangerous. I'm going to talk about this one in particular. One thing is, it's ever so easy to get lost, because when you enter this mine, to start off with, it all looks very distinctive, and there's lots of different bits that look interesting and different, so you can't really get lost to start with. But when you go deeper into the mine, into the deep tunnels, the further you go, the tunnels look more and more the same. And when you get deep into this mine, there's no distinguishing features between the different tunnels. So you go through this tunnel, takes a few turns where the tunnel branches, and then you would forget your way back. Because when you look behind you, things look very different to in front of you. And it's so easy when trying to retrace your steps to take a wrong turning and be completely lost. The first time I visited this mine, I did exactly that, and I was running around these tunnels, had no clue where I was, going deeper and deeper into the mine while trying to actually find my way back, and I had no idea which way I came from. There's some parts of this mine where you're going through a passage and it gets to like a T-junction to a bigger passage. Then when you're in a bigger passage, you have no idea which of the little passages it was to get back to the way you came, and I got properly lost in this mine, and my torch was on low battery. I almost got trapped down a mine. In the end, I actually had to try loads of different passages to try and work out which passage it was, and each time I went up a passage I left a stone on the floor to mark I'd done that one. It was so similar looking, the only way I could tell I'd checked a passage was to put a stone on the floor. And after using that method, I slowly worked out which passage it was I came from, and I managed to get out of mine just in time before my torch ran out of battery. That was incredibly scary. And the second thing that makes this mine really dangerous is that sound doesn't travel. I noticed that when I went around the corner ahead of the people I was with, when I shouted, no one could hear me. So I put it to the test to see how many metres away I'd have to go round a corner for sound not to travel. And it turned out just 20 metres from the other people, I'd scream at the top of my voice and they couldn't hear me. Sound does not travel round corners in this mine, which means it's incredibly easy to lose the people you're with in this mine, and you'll end up alone in the mine, and it's so easy to get lost. This mine is more dangerous than it initially appears. After my first visit, I wasn't that impressed with the footage I got, so I went back for a second visit and I printed off a map, and I was trying to follow around the map of a mine to film all the different areas and show my location on the map. But it turns out the maps online are complete utter crap, and they don't really help at all, and I still got just as lost on the second visit to this mine. So the video I want to do about fully exploring the map, I'll have to come back a third time to make that video. As for this video, as I didn't manage to get a successful proper video of a mine, this video is just going to be a general video of just exploring and showing you what a mine's like. Let's go! Right then, Browns Folly Mine. This mine is big. And I've done a lot of underground exploring of a lot of places, but what's different about a mine is the sheer scale of it. It is much bigger than a bunker. And when I go to a lot of these bunkers, people often say, tell me when you go in and tell me when you go out, in case you get lost. But in a bunker, you can't get lost. Even in a really big bunker like Chancery Lane, you can't get lost. But in a mine, you can. And in a mine, it's very important to do it incredibly safely. And not only that, sound does not travel. If you go just 10, 20 metres from the person you're with and go around a corner, they will not hear you scream. You can scream as loud as you can, and the person you're with will not hear you when you're just around a corner. These walls stop sound. Plus, the deeper you go, there's less features. And when there's not many features, you can't orientate yourself, because all the tunnels look identical when you get to a certain depth. The first bit, it doesn't. The first bit's interesting. But when you get deeper, there's less features in the tunnels, meaning it's more likely that you'll get lost. And this is where it gets dangerous, because you have to do it correctly to not be dangerous. Unlike other things where, be honest, you don't need warnings, but in a mine, you do need to play it safe. So, here's the map of the mine. We're entering at where I've put the dot. This is called Muddy Hole, because you go through a muddy hole to get in. There's lots and lots of many passages around that bit, and they're all so identical. When you're on Middle Passage, you do not know which left turn from Middle Passage links you back to Clapham Junction. So you'll be going down Middle Passage, and you can get thoroughly lost in Middle Passage. And that's why you need to leave markers to show your way out. But there's the mine loony. There is a loony in this mine who goes around hoovering it. And when you leave markers, when you're down in the deep sections to show which way leads back to Clapham Junction, if he sees them, he'll remove your markers, meaning you can't get out. And he hoovers it so the mine looks identical. Any traces you leave to show the way out, he'll remove. And you can get lost walking around the deep sections, not getting your way back to Clapham Junction. Also, I want to see St Paul's. I haven't seen St Paul's. I want to see remains of trolleys. want to also see stables and also see that bit, head further that way, see if that dead end there does link through like it shows. So there's quite a few bits of his mine I want to find out. First we're going to head towards loading bays and Clapham Junction. So let's enter into the mine through the little so we're going from entrance along to tight squeeze, and we have to enter through tight squeeze to get into the mine. It's currently the only way in. All the other entrances have been sealed for health and safety. This one's the only one not sealed at the moment. Tight squeeze is claustrophobic, just to warn you. As we enter tight squeeze, there's a bit of rock. John reckons will collapse eventually. As long as it doesn't collapse today, it doesn't matter. Now we enter into tight squeeze. You've got a bit of prop there, so tight squeeze is fairly safe, although it is rather squeezy. Tight squeeze is not too claustrophobic as long as you have a clear path in and out. If you've got people stopping in front of you and behind you, then it could get claustrophobic, but it's not too bad. I know some of these mines do have really dodgy ways in. This one's not too awful, it's actually reasonable. And we're now entering into the entrance point. So you've entered that dot, we're now on main passage, the upper passage. Now there's two ways you can go here. I didn't realise the other one was a route. It gets confusing. So you've got this weird walkway. See how all the stones have been piled up, making this nice walkway. So this part is easy. This part you won't get lost in this part. This part's the easy part. And you even got way out to Muddy Hole.
Right.
So that bit's nice and easy.
Are there mine carts here, like in the mine?
Apparently there is.
Wow. Oh, wow.
So here is loading bay. It is back towards Muddy Hole, and we now go up to Clapham Junction. There's a passage off that way. I wonder where that way goes. There's a lot of complicated routes. I think we need to take a look at a map. This Clapham Junction is the complicated bit. So we have also got, as well as loading bay there, you've got, oh, I have not explored this way. Does this go to a dead end? Or does this stop? That's the question. Oh, this carries on. But before we go this way, I think we should go the other way first. Or does this carry on? No, this bit stops. That's the weird thing, that you can't tell what's the main passage and what's just a dead end. That way there is towards the deep mine. That's where I got lost. Because down there is where it starts to look identical. Now to the left, since I'd explored this previously, left goes to a dead end. Should we try left first?
Yeah, we should.
And up here, you get to, the swimming pool. Now this is the location on the map. Should we continue past the swimming pool and see where that goes? Please, it's so easy to get lost. But the problem is the map doesn't actually mark the swimming pool properly. Just to make it more confusing.
What is this for?
I don't know. To swim? No, I highly doubt it. Someone's thrown a glow stick down there.
I'm not sure if you guys can see on the camera, but right there, like right in the center of the picture, should be like a glow stick at the bottom.
You came up to Clapham Junction. I know the scary passage is that one. Backfield passage. I don't believe we've gone up Backfield passage.
Go.
So let's go beyond the pool and see where it goes. I don't want to go for a swim, so let's not fall in the pool.
Doesn't lead anywhere. I don't think that leads anywhere, Ben. You see it?
It'd be so nice if we actually could run a train down here.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because where on earth could we be? Got a prop there. Well, this isn't prop chamber, it's not big enough. That is just that doesn't go anywhere from what I remember. But we could have a look just in case. Maybe up here? Hey, look, it's a path. So confused. Oh, look, some that's actually marked a way out for once. And see, passages do get very, very confusing when you head these ways. Especially this. See how confusing this is? Literally, you need to be very careful to trace your steps well. If you don't trace your steps well, you could easily get lost in this part. It's not self-explanatory at all. All of you watching think, oh, I'm just making it up. I've got really good sense of direction, but when you're in a situation like this, I have a couple of helpful arrows. The loony keeps hoovering, hasn't hoovered away. But you never trust that. When it's a loony that hoovers away stuff, it does get worrying, like quite worrying and quite quickly. Blue arrow, which is the exit, then you've got a yellow arrow pointing that way, or is it meaning that way? The mystery continues and it's very, very confusing. Which way should we try first? Let's try here. Yeah, let's try the bigger path first. Ah, now, that looks familiar. Maybe, or maybe not. Okay, for the purpose of the video, I don't think I should edit it to make it look like I know what I'm talking about, because the fact is I clearly do not know what I'm talking about, so maybe we should just be happy I don't know what I'm talking about, because it makes it more of an adventure. We've gone back to door in the wall. We're right next to Clapham Junction. We did not go down Middle Passage. We headed up the quarrying passage alongside the East End, so we head back up the East End alongside rather than going down Middle Passage. So we have gone completely a different route to what I thought we went. Oh dear.
Let's just have a look.
Well, there's an arch there. Supposedly prop chamber should be up here, but so far the map has been so useless, I think we might have to give up on it. Nothing at all correlates to the map. So we're heading back to Clapham Junction now. Left of this junction is East End and right is Clapham Junction. Then we're going to head down the other route to Middle Passage. When we get to Middle Passage, we're then going to turn left and try and take Middle Passage back to Upminster and Romford, where we were earlier, to see if it did link through and we missed it, or if it doesn't link through and the map's completely lying. Let's find out. Clapham Junction time, back on the railway. It's a weird railway.
It's better than the underground. Probably more on time.
I went down there to East End. Oh dear, this map's getting really creased. Maybe I'll have to overlay this later. We went down there, but couldn't find that way, so we're now going back to Clapham Junction. Actually, none of this makes any sense. You know, none of this map makes the slightest bit of sense at all. We're going to try the other way down to Middle Passage now, just see what happens. Now, this is the dangerous section. This is the part where I got lost. Because when you head down this section, every single passage you see looks absolutely identical. So identical, in fact, you can't tell one passage from another. And when that happens, is when it starts to get more scary. So you get weird passages coming off at weird angles. But the general rule is stick to the main path, and any of these side passages just discard as being not important. Very weird. Where's Three Troughs? Three Troughs should be down here somewhere. So we've now arrived at our next station, Three Troughs.
What the heck is this?
For some reason the map doesn't show Three Troughs. If the map showed Three Troughs, it would help navigate a lot if it showed more landmarks, but a map shows so few landmarks. It's just ridiculous. But we can tell it's the main passage. We can still see where the sleepers were on the railway, so we know we're on the main passage here. But this is the part where I got lost previously. Like, it's no wonder I got lost. Look how similar these look. You could easily walk down there and get lost. And then, here we now arrive at Middle Passage. Are my stones still there? I laid some stones to indicate this is the correct way back. So there's nothing. When Middle Passage looks identical, it's gone. Someone has cleared away my stones. I put stones there to indicate the passage back, and we've got that. But would we spot that? It's so slight. That wasn't air lost. And people keep writing markers at the way out, and the loony keeps coming and removing them. Well, we've left some stones, but will the loony move the stones? Because if those stones get moved, that arrow gets cleaned off that wall. That passage, you literally would not notice. If when you walk back along Middle Passage, considering this is like a mile long, you walk along a whole mile, and at some point you have to turn left to get back. But if those stones are gone, I'm just going to be walking past, to be honest. Is there any other? There's nothing. There's literally nothing to show. That is the passage off, and not a different passage. Yeah, but a loony will rub that off if he sees it. I was running up and down Middle Passage, not being able to find the passage off.
This is Middle Passage, right?
Yeah.
What about, where was everyone else when you were lost?
Yeah, but as soon as you turn one corner, you can lose each other so easily.
Yeah, quite easily. Look at that.
So weird. What about a passage on the right? So I ran down this passage, and when I saw that dead end, I proper freaked out. I knew then I was well and truly lost. Yeah. Then I ran back up here. and tried left, thinking, oh, this must have been my mystery passage that I missed. It must have been this passage. And this one also leads to nowhere. We are back at 3 troughs, just there. Fuck me, these tunnels are confusing. You can walk around in circles. There's a fan in the mine. That is something you would not expect to see in a mine. Isn't that weird?
Fuck.
Down in mine there's a fan on.
Well, the fucking ammo tunnels.
Oh dear. I already feel lost. Are we walking in the direction of Clapham Junction right now, or are we nowhere near Clapham Junction?
I think we are. We're hanging around it.
Do you remember these rocks?
Huh?
Do you remember these rocks?
The main shaft.
Did you not realise it'd be this big? So we get here, just remember we're going to the 2 prop shafts. We come back. This is crazy. I've never known somewhere to be this big. All the explorers have ever done of underground places.
What's that? It's a door.
There's a door.
Dude, seriously, it's a door. It looks like it's bricked off as well. Look at it.
Holy shit, it actually is a door. It's actually bricks.
The end of the road. We can't go through that.
These tunnels, and we've looked at many tunnels now, and you can't plot anything along here. They're so identical. They're literally identical. The only way to safely do this is to get a bit of string and use a bit of string so you can always find your way out. But even then, you've got a loony, and a loony might cut it.
It's a big fucking arrow.
Okay, there's a big arrow there, because we're near the entrance anyway, but the deeper in we go, the less it is.
Good, I'll take it.